justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll.
Speaks. Here. Koci.
Here.
Mezek. Here. Judas.
Here.
Fluharty.
Here.
Saunders.
Here.
Rhodes. Here.
Council, you have the minutes of the work session of March 5th, 2018. Any corrections? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Mezek, second by Rhodes. Call the roll.
Speaks. Yes. Koci.
Yes.
Mezek. Yes. Judas.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Rhodes. Yes.
And you have the minutes of the regular meeting of March 5th, 2018. Any corrections? Seeing none, the motion for acceptance by Spinks, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Speaks. Yes. Koci.
Yes.
Mezek. Yes. Judas.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Rhodes. Yes.
Well, everyone knows one of my favorite things to do is presentations. And we have a bunch of them tonight. And to a group of guys near and dear to my heart, guys I spent 27 years working with, well, none of them, they're all too young. But I did work with most of them. And I'd like to call them up front. Jeff Diedrich, Mark Latkovic, Vic DePasquale, Tom Mitchell, Pat Goody, I believe he's absent tonight, and also Mark Rauschenbach, who's also absent. That's okay.
Mayor, we got one more Steve Copeland.
Steve, did I?
It might be hidden in there.
It's stuck together, yeah. Steve Copeland, yeah. Can I forget Steve? I'm just doing a certificate of appreciation and about the efforts of these gentlemen with a cardiac arrest victim and resulting in saving him a life, which is the main reason we're here and why they do this job. And maybe if you could tell us a little about Lieutenant. And,
Sure. We got the call for a woman in distress up at a local restaurant. Our ambulance crew responded, licensed sirens to the scene, found a woman who was in what seemed like a life-threatening scenario, pulseless, not breathing. They immediately started some advanced life support scenarios, called for help. We responded with the engine for extra manpower. In a rapid sequence, we had an advanced airway, intravenous drugs going, and some ACLS protocols were going well. It's a pretty sticky situation where we knew we had life in the balance, but we did really well.
yeah, great. And is the person here tonight?
Ms. Clark is here.
Ms. Clark. Hey, would you like to come up? Good to see you. Good. This is the way we like them all to turn out.
Right?
I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I appreciate you coming in.
Don't go anywhere.
You stay here with these guys. They take it all the way. Yeah, just come in here, but I'm gonna read them. I'll read one because they all pretty much read the same, but for these gentlemen here, it's a certificate of appreciation to Lieutenant Jeff Diedrich and the rest of you guys. Bedford City Council and the administration wish to commend Lieutenant Jeff Diedrich for his actions and professionalism. We laud the Bedford Fire Department in their efforts works when responding to a cardiac arrest victim on February 1st, 2018. We recognize and congratulate Lieutenant Jeff Diedrich and the others for their outstanding performance that resulted in saving a life. Another job well done. Thank you, guys. That's fine. You don't have to.
I mean, no, it's fine. I'm just overwhelmed with emotion because I'm only 26 and it's a normal day at work, you know, and just the severity of what I hear because I don't remember a lot of it. And you know, who knows what would have happened if you guys weren't there so fast. So, you know, I got my kids here, my whole family came to support me, you know, so we just really appreciate every last one of you. Thank you.
For more than one reason. Glad to see you here. Gentlemen, I'll let you take those for the guy, but I do want to shake your hands. Good job.
It's a team effort, everybody. The dedication and the way these guys approach the job is second to none.
We hire the best, we expect the best, they do the best. Thank you. Those are definitely the outcomes of. Give them a minute to bear out. Yeah, you know, people can get ill no matter what age. 26 and to have be down like that, it's terrific to see a save like that. We have no old business. I kind of hate to just go into the mundane reports and things now. It's a pretty spectacular thing. Reports, Mr. Malice.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, first and foremost, I just want to congratulate the guys and great team that we have. Again, true professionals. Just a quick update on a couple exams, and I don't want to take anything from Frank, he may have it, but friendly reminder that civil service will be putting on the police entrance exam on April 7th. And in addition, we are going to be giving a fire exam on May 19th. So anybody, any interested individuals, contact City Hall here and get your name on that list and get those tests done. I did want to mention quickly on April 14th, there's some information up here. There's going to be a Bedford tree planting in the area of 604 Columbus. And this is a partnership with the City of Bedford, the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District, Tinkers Creek Watershed Partners. They're going to be doing an event here, tree planting. Good program, good event. Anybody that's interested in volunteering, you have to go through here, there, and sign up. I also want to mention that our tax department is going to be open on April 7th and 14th from 9 to 1 for anybody wishing to file. Obviously, you know, we understand they're busy. Everybody has busy schedules, and Frank and his staff will be here on the weekends to try to accommodate any of those individuals that still need to file. We will be having our Easter egg hunt this Saturday, the 24th. It's going to be 10 o'clock sharp at the stadium this year. It's gonna be something new, so let's hope it's not too chilly. Anybody with little ones, actually it's 12 and under, 10 o'clock sharp this Saturday. Our building department, as we've done in the past, we are offering a free permit month for owner-occupied single-family units or homes. That is going to be June, once again. So if you're planning on doing some work, if you want to save a few dollars on those permits, plan around June and take advantage of that. Friendly reminder that next Monday, Wards 1 and 4, we will have our first ward meeting on the 26th. So hopefully everyone can join for those. We'll have a brief presentation, offer a brief update on some things going on in the city, but then really it's open it up to the public. It's residents' chance to ask any of us questions. If you have a comment on anything, we do have some new faces as far as our administration, so it'd be just a good chance to just meet and introduce yourselves to them or allow us to introduce them to you. Some great individuals that are now part of our team. Lastly, I do want to give a very brief update on the Dominion project down in the area of Taylor, Broadway. I know it's been brought up many times over the last couple months, and they've been stuck in the area of Taylor and Broadway for months. It was about 2 months. They were trying to bore underneath Broadway, and they were not getting through at all. They were 18 feet down. They lost equipment. They finally decided to bore those two areas. They believe is what they've indicated to us. They are in some sort of granite formation at that depth, and they're not going to be able to get through in that section. So they're abandoning the open bores at that location and came back to us with an alternative plan. That plan is to open cut a section of Broadway a little further up by the dry cleaner and cross over there. They cannot do any of those final tie-ins along Washington until they get that section across. They thought that the problem would be at the bridge. The bridge actually went really smooth. It was that area on that right behind Padala. That seems to be the issue and underneath Broadway. Actually, Councilman Saunders had even brought up it could be the old rail, that there is rail down Broadway from years ago, but I don't know if it's, they're 18 plus feet down. I mean, they're deep. So last week we did give them permission beginning of the week to do some open boring while they came to us with a plan. The plan was reviewed by engineering, reviewed by the service department. We had some comments and some concerns that we wanted them to address. They did agree to that, so they are going to be moving forward. You'll see they will have traffic control there. I believe near the end of last week they had some cones directing traffic as well. It's going to be a little sticky for hopefully a short period of time. We want them to get that open cut quick and that connection across. But the majority of the work we are making them do, and they actually recommend it in the evenings, just to limit the amount of traffic. I mean, Broadway's got a tremendous amount of traffic. So they will be there in the evening hours trying to do that work, and hopefully we get it done quickly, and restoration done soon after that. But primarily we want to get those holes down Washington filled. We've discussed some alternates as far as if it wasn't going as according to plan. They did commit to filling those open holes along Washington near the library and over by Tarbell if they need to. My concern, or our concern, is with the weather breaking and kids, even if you have a fence up, kids are kids. You see a big hole, I know how I was when I was a kid. And explore. So we have some concerns about that. So as this moves along, if we feel that they are not on the schedule that they submitted, and we just received that today, we're probably going to ask them to fill that and then have to redig it when it's time to make the full connections. It's not nothing ideal and nothing that we would plan this way, but we're dealing with what's under Broadway, and there's a lot of infrastructure under Broadway. And, who knows what. You know, as, like I said, as they had indicated, it was some type of granite foundation at their depth, and they cannot get through it, so. We're on to Plan B. So, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. Montello.
I just want to congratulate the fire department for indeed wish the young lady good luck at the report.
Thank you. Mr. Gamboza.
Great job by the fire department. It's wonderful that they saved her. I think that goes a long way. They're very well, very good, experienced employees. Our tax department, like you said, will be open 9 to 1. Just want to make a note on Fun Day coming up April 29th. There'll be the fun run that they have at the school. The high school will have the Rotary Pancake Breakfast, and we will have the art show that day. So April 29th, set that on your calendar. It's coming up again, and we're looking forward to a big event this year, and a lot of workers that'll need to help with that. I think we have 35 volunteers we need at least for our side just to do the pancake breakfast. So looking forward to it. Should be a fun day.
And waffles new this year.
Waffles, I had some waffles at the end. They do. I have a waffle iron, so we'll see how that goes.
Thank you. Council. Mrs. Spinks.
Yes. A big congratulations to our fire department. For a good job doing that. Can't be easy, even though it's part of their job. A report from last time when I was here, I shared with an incident that had happened to my youngest son, responding to an accident, which happened to be his father. Father's still holding on. He's has had several strokes. It'll be a long recovery, but thanks to my son for getting there and saving his dad's life. Has since been made to a detective, homicide detective, so he's off the street. So that's a good deed. He was rewarded for it, and was also given an award for responding, because that had to be really, really hard. I'm sure it's hard when it's someone you don't know, but when it's your own relative to jump in, and he went to work the very next day. I also kind of want to hone on the April 29th, talking about the art show. That's a great thing. I'm really pushing that this year because, again, each year, the Celebration of Art's not till September, but we're doing something. We always try to include our schools in it, and we're partnering again with Tri-C again this year. This year, what we're doing something new is we're going to be having our 4th through 6th graders, our 7th through 8th, and then 9th through 12th. We'll be doing a mural in the back wall of behind the Sedlon Gardens. And of course, the 4th through 6th will be doing the beginning of it. The 7th through 8th will be doing the middle of it. The 9th through 12th will be finishing up. It's called Use Your Imagination. So this is something that's going to be on that wall. Michelle Longstreet was so gracious to let the kids use that wall. All the kids' activities, the kids will be actually selling their art. The whole Sedline Gardens will be all youth artists and teachers. So all the kids' stuff will be over there. And I've got a lot of really good plans going on for that this year. So the art show is kind of a showcase of some of the students, what you'll be able to purchase. Because they have several pieces of work. It's a great show. We've got so many talented kids in our city. It's just amazing. At first we thought we would open it up to local other schools, Solon and different. I was like, why should we do that when we've got so many talented? We've got 4 areas here. We've got Bedford, Bedford Heights, Oakwood. So why open it to others? We've got enough of talent here. So I'm excited about that. We add something new every year. Got good sponsors. Mike, I want to thank you for finally got no parking signs on Greencroft, which I've been begging for. Residents have been begging for. There's quite a few situations going on where the streets weren't being able to be plowed, different things, because a couple of residents had several visitors. They were leaving there overnight. It was causing a lot of trouble, and finally we were able to get it done. Still got a few little problems, quirks here and there, but Mike has assured me they're going to be taken care of, so I appreciate that. This past week, had the pleasure of going to a bunch of workshops. And of course, Don, you missed a, NLC this year the topic was infrastructure. And it was like, we talk about how many potholes we have here. Well, Washington DC, driving around, they also have really bad potholes. You wouldn't think that they would be right there by the Capitol. But it was a very, very interesting workshop. It's always so overwhelming because there's so much going on there. Big topics first was gun control, legalizing marijuana, the medical marijuana and recreational. Was able to go to a couple of those workshops, very interesting. Heard several different views. Most of the workshops are called roundtables, so that's where you really bring back a lot of stuff. I brought back Mike a lot of stuff on some more free stuff for our city. So I was very interested, and me and the mayor had the pleasure of sitting with some youth delegates. And these kids were they were from all over the place, and they were simply amazing. And one of the workshops that I was in, there was 2 young people that were from the Florida school where the shooting was. So it was very interesting to get their point of view on it. I was also talking to several teachers to get their point of view on it. And the last workshop that we went to, a young lady that sat at the table with us, and it was a question and answer thing. She was in a sister school right next to it. Several of her friends were in the school, and they were killed. Goes to a Catholic school, and she says, everybody's talking about, public schools and this and that. Well, she said they had a scare at their Catholic school as well. So it was a very interesting thing. I grew up around guns. I grew up on a farm. It's a touchy situation. Of course, my youngest and both of my sons learned to shoot in respect. And that was the biggest thing that we heard at the workshop was, it starts at home too, with parents teaching their children respect. Lock those guns up. And there's so many different aspects on this that need to be done with this. That's all I'm gonna say on that because it hits home with me. Also, another thing was while I was there, again, roundtable and everything, when I got back home, I was kind of started by an article that was written in our newspaper, online paper, which thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. But my feelings as a council person, I take this job very, very serious. And how I looked at it and how I looked at it when I was running is I am up here, we're all up here as representatives of the residents. And when we do something and we go where it to be a conference or fight for something, you're representing the residents, not just what you think or what you think's good for you or yourself or your opinion. And we need to really, as a council, look at that. Because we're all up here supposedly for the right thing. That's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Mrs. Meason?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm glad to see Mr. and Mrs. Bender back in the audience. We've missed you. I don't know if you were in Canada or Florida, but we missed you.
Thank you.
And also, I was going to thank the fire department. Those gentlemen, and I am going to phrase it as gentlemen, are one of 2 of the best that our Bedford men and another paramedic fire department somewhere in the area are the most professional and most kindest firefighter for paramedics that you can find. I too can't thank them enough. As a matter of fact, Saturday I took my husband up for a blood pressure test because every time I tried the hand meter on him, it got worse. So I said, get in the car, we're going up and seeing one of the firefighters there, and they let us in and they took their time with us and they asked him if he wanted to look around. It was great. I think we have a very warm and welcoming fire and police department. Sometimes people are against a lot of things, but you know what? even though we're a small town, we have to be proud of our guys that keep us going every day and keep us safe. Secondly, Michael, of course, took my thunder. The Easter egg hunt Saturday has been changed to the high school at 10 o'clock. It's gonna be on the football field, I take it? Yes, and of course Sandy and I will be back next Monday night at 7 p.m. for our ward meeting with our residents. And we're open to try to answer and accommodate you as best we can. Now that spring has tried to sprung, tomorrow's supposed to be the first day, and I heard snow, but that's all right too, because the ground's too warm, so it won't stay. A lot of people have been out in their yard already. I myself don't have trees, but I collect every tree from either the park or my neighbor's tree. And so instead of putting sticks on the tree line, I'm gonna try to get my leaves out there for somebody to take them away, and hopefully they'll fly back up to the park. But people's front yards are not, whoever goes through the areas, and no matter where you are in Bedford, front yards are not a garbage can for anybody. Everybody takes pride in their yards, so if you can refrain from just cleaning up your sidewalk, bagging it, or putting it in a box something, do it. But if you see somebody that tosses something, either say something, or, just say, hey, this is not a garbage can for you. And I'm hoping soon enough that the street sweeper will be down to clear the storm sewers so that everything can drain properly so nobody gets water in their yards and area of their home from that. And I would also like to have everybody have a nice week and think ahead for tomorrow and warmer weather and sunshine. Thank you.
And don't forget our lady firefighter too.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to firstly thank Sandy for mentioning the art show, because so oftentimes we talk about arts and culture in our town, and we know each spring we have a pancake breakfast, but there's also an art show, and maybe we should maybe it should go art show first and pancakes last, but lately it's been, pancakes first and the art show is an afterthought. But there's a lot of art, as Sandy pointed out. We have some great artists, and they're all going to be representing their art in the basketball arena at the high school that day, and everyone should support our local artists, most of whom are very young and still going to school. But it's really a neat thing. And it's really fun to hear about the mural. That's really great.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be there forever.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Today had the occasion to work with county officials on a draft proposal for grant and loan funding for projects in Cuyahoga County that meet community needs under the heading of Community Wellness Development, issuing from the County Council's Department of Development. I think it is significant to realize that on a higher level of government, there's a real concern for the health of our communities, not only in terms of economic development. This is something our own municipal government may well take up the cause for, and I have to say there are some very encouraging signs happening, coming to be, that we'll learn more about this summer, so I'm really happy to know that. I'd like to take the time also to thank and congratulate David Neff and his wife Lorraine for the creation of a new community newspaper. That's really, really a big deal. Something most of us have all been desiring for a long time. Yeah, it's online presently. The hope is that it'll be in print someday, and you may know the Neffs from having sustained our farmers market last summer. So it's really a great thing. It was good news to hear about the newspaper, and I'm really glad you're doing it, so thank you very much. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Fluharty?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We take for granted we've got probably two of the best hospitals in the country or the world that's right here at our hands, and our fire department is right up there as far as I'm concerned. And again, I want to congratulate them. What Paul was talking about with these limbs and stuff, I still got people still have all their debris on from last year. Once the snow came in November, they're still there. In fact, it's gotten worse, and they're even falling in the streets and everything else. When do we start, Mike, the new program for collecting these things?
Chipper will probably be out in April. I can try to get a more specific date, like week, but it'll probably be in April.
Okay, because I took a couple walks the last couple of days since the weather's finally changed, and there's at least 5 or 7 areas where they're just falling in the street now, and I've tried to move them up as much as possible, but it's like, the wind just puts them right back.
If there's any locations like that, if you just let me know. And
Okay, I'll write the addresses down.
Or at least at the street, and we can send people down there, at least get them up out of the street.
Yeah, because they've been there all winter. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you said that they eliminated the program at a certain time in November, whenever they stopped picking them up for the winter, I understand that. But, so anyhow, that's the one thing that's needed to be taken care of, and also, back to this parking business, I know Donald's been talking about these cars parking on these streets forever. I've had 2 people call me and tell them about there's cars in front of their houses all the time, and I finally drove around, started marking them in my head, on my piece of paper, and go around 4 hours later, they're still there. And it's like, go around 4 hours later, they're still there. Now, there's signs that say no parking from 8 a.m. till 2 or 3 a.m., but you got these cars around these streets all day long. And it's the same ones that are doing it. But it's starting to get to the point where in wintertime, like you say, people trying to get out of their driveways when there's snow piles and stuff. And if you live on the right side of your street where you're allowed to park, you're okay. But if you live on the left side of the street, you're the ones backing out and making tough turns to get out of your driveway. And it's becoming a problem, because you got some people that aren't the world's best drivers on top of it, and they're trying to back out on top of with everything in their way. And I think that's something I don't know if we gotta get hold of Marty, they need to start giving them tickets or what? I mean, if there's a sign that says no parking, then why are they out there?
We're gonna be talking about this a little bit, police, and internally, as far as what we could possibly do, even if it's as much as looking at our ticket procedure, and what is the escalation of those? Because I can tell you, we issued somebody with the same car, we issued them tickets 2 out of 3 days, and on the 4th day, they were parked in front of the no parking sign. So, for some individuals, it gets to the point where 2 years ago, we towed someone in Donsworth, we ended up towing their car. Because we ticketed them, I think it was up to 5 times, and then they failed to pay, and then you can do that. But we need to look at that as far as what can be done from an enforcement standpoint. Is it the cost per ticket? Maybe that's something we need to look at. Is it if the escalation of after multiple? That might be something that we need to look at. So all these questions have been. We brought those up in our internal staff meetings, and we've had some fluid discussion on that. But it's definitely something that we'll have to counsel as far as our recommendation.
Because they do have driveways, and there's
Absolutely.
no reason for that. If you had to pull it out just for an hour or 2 or whatever, 3 hours, there's one thing, but constantly, the same cars every day. And I actually drove around and seen them, and I says, they are not telling me lies here, they're telling me the truth. And it's just becoming a nuisance lately. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders?
Yes, even though I wasn't at NLC, I was at NLC because we had several web conferences. So I couldn't make it because doing 2 trips in a 2-week period would be tough, because I'm going down to Charleston, South Carolina this weekend, because my son, who's in the Navy, his new destroyer pulled in over there the other day, and they're going to be doing a ship christening to Ralph Johnson. So it's a brand new destroyer that is going to be put into service as of this weekend. So I can't make 2 trips at the same time, but we did do web conferences. So we're trying some of that new technology out a little bit. So yes, the infrastructure is definitely an important issue, especially with the president who really didn't increase funding for the infrastructure. He threw it all on the states to do it. But we're working on lobbying to get that changed a little bit on the national level too. So infrastructure is critical. As you can tell locally, we've got quite a few roads here too that are also in poor shape, and unfortunately the county and the states don't seem to look at it that way. I want to thank the fire department, like everybody else has here. They were busy again this morning on a house structure fire on High Street. But a week ago, they transported my mother to Bedford Hospital, who had fallen. So she came home today finally, though. So we'll see how that operates again. But they are a valuable service in this town that if you haven't used them, and I hope you don't need them, but they are there when you do need them. So kudos to all the guys over there. They certainly earn their pay. Back to Dominion, as you mentioned, they're open cutting. I hope we're getting to the point where when they just don't pave over those trenches, that they do it a little bit on either side so that we don't have the trenches sink at a later date, and that the pavement around it doesn't break up because they dug through it, because they dug across Washington today right at the Taylor Street entrance, and they completely dug out all the sidewalk on that side of Taylor all the way to Broadway. So they dug across Taylor over by Union too. Did they actually connect the pipe through the bridge on Union, you know, or did they stub it at both ends? Because if they figured out that that's an earthen-filled structure, they could have gone through there.
No, I think it was connected over by the bridge, but not up towards the other end.
Okay, did they connect to the old line through the bridge? Because that is an earthen-filled structure. They could have probably drilled across that and ran new pipe.
As far as their method, listen,
I know,
rely on the engineer,
it's a big
rely
mess
on them. I'm not
regardless.
gonna question that, that's not my area of expertise.
Yes.
Our engineer, we have an inspector out there, and our engineers have reviewed all the plans, and Dominion has reviewed their proposal on how to go about it, so I'm gonna rely on their expertise on that. But I believe it's been connected over by the bridge, but not up towards the upper half.
Okay, when they could open cut into Broadway, it would be a good idea to contact ODOT first to make sure that 271 doesn't have lane reductions during that time period, because that throws a lot of traffic on the Broadway right now. Last weekend they had lane reductions, and there was times on Northfield and Broadway where it was just bumper to bumper. I counted 14 trucks in a row on Broadway at one time because they were trying to avoid the backup that was on the freeway. So we want to make sure that we get this coordinated between the construction and hope like heck there isn't an accident on 271 at the same time they're working on it, or they're going to have a headache. So just want to bring that up, that they should coordinate with interstate construction when they plan on doing that open cut. Even though it may be at night, it's still a considerable amount of traffic depending on how the freeway operates. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Rhodes?
My sister.
Oh.
She's reading my house. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I wanted to remind everybody that basketball and baseball and softball signups are currently going on if you're interested in signing you or your child up for that. As Wally mentioned, the Bedford Tribune is up and running. They are still seeking writers, so if you have an interest in writing about whatever is your expertise, they would be very interested in your writing. You can visit the Bedford Tribune at bedfordohio.org. Downtown, we have the Treehouse, which is a charity that helps to get special needs children some of the therapy they need for free. They're having a fundraising event on April 12th. There are tickets available. They're $50 a piece. Food and drink will be provided at that event. We also have 50/50 raffle tickets. They're $5 a piece, or 5 for 20. I would also like to congratulate Gabby Little, who lives in my ward. She won a new car from Circle K. Yes, so she didn't even know she had entered. They had actually been trying to contact her for weeks. She thought it was a hoax. And finally, somebody from Coke, this was a giveaway that was done in conjunction with Circle K and Coke. An executive from Coke finally called her and said, nope, not fake, you really, really want a car. She's a great woman, she works for our school system, so I just wanted to give her a shout out and tell her congratulations. And if you see her, tell her the same. So that's the end of my report, thank you.
Thank you. I believe that contest was 10 states were involved.
That is correct, yeah.
That's pretty cool. You hear all those raffles and contests, and you
Yep.
never hear anybody winning them, so
Yep.
good to have one at home here. All I want to add is my NLC report will be next meeting, because I left all my notes at home. But it was a great trip, great conference. They consolidated it down to 3 just intense days of sitting in rooms and listening and having conversations with people, like Sandy said, at round tables. And the 2 of us went, we split up so we didn't attend the same classes, so we could get more out of it. And but it was well worthwhile, and I'll give you some more insight next meeting. And with that, let's get on with business. Ordinance number 9569-18.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 9538-17, making additional appropriations for current expenditures of the city during the year 2018 and declaring an emergency.
And can I have a motion for suspension by Saunders, second by Rhodes? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus.
Mayor, this is appropriation to start the year. We had our first original one back in January. This one will bring into account all the grants that we had from last year, all the balances that we had, as well as the AEDs we're getting for the Recreation Department, other places in the city, bringing those up to date. But mostly just to bring all the grants up in the par. We did get some new ones in regards to our SEAL grant, the Juvenile Diversion Grant, and the VAWA grant this year. The 3 new grants that we received there, as well as one from NOPEC for $49,520. The court received their grant for $58,644. I believe that was for record retention again. And so we've been very busy applying for grants.
Thank you.
Ask council to pass that tonight.
Questions? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9570-18.
An ordinance to levy assessments for delinquent water bills in the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
Can I have a motion for suspension by Spinks, second by Fluharty? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Mezek, second by Saunders.
Mayor, as you know, twice a year we're allowed to assess any delinquent accounts that we have in the water department. These are the delinquencies that are forwarded to the finance department. They will need to be rounded out to the nearest even number, so they'll probably drop a penny on these numbers. But other than that, I ask council to approve these for this evening so we can get those to the county for assessment.
And we have approximately 64 parcels to deal with. And, most sizable one is $1,300 they owe in water, delinquent water. So that will all go on their tax bill, correct?
That is correct.
So we will get the city's money back sooner or later.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
The next three concerning vehicles, we're gonna put on first reading tonight. We're trying to get a little more information. So if I could have ordinance number 9571.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Tim Lally Chevrolet to purchase one 2018 4x4 Chevrolet pickup truck for the water department and declaring an emergency.
And motion for first reading by Mezak, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9572-18.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Valley Ford Truck, Inc. to purchase one 2018 4x4 Ford pickup truck for the water department and declaring an emergency.
And again, we want to do first reading on that. Do I have a motion by Fluharty, second by Spinks? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
And ordinance number 9573-18.
Again, to enter into a contract with Valley Ford Truck, Inc. to purchase one 2018 3/4 ton 4x4 Ford pickup truck and one 2018 F450 Ford dump truck with a snowplow for the service department and declaring an emergency.
And again, first reading, motion for such by Saunders, second by Rhodes. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9574-18.
An ordinance amending section 91503 entitled Containers, Newspapers, and Trimmings, and ordinance number 72745, section 91510 entitled Removal Requirements, and declaring an emergency.
And this we also want to put on first reading. It's pretty, not extensive, but it deals with mostly trash in the trash containers in the downtown business area. So we want to make sure the local business and landlords have a chance to look over the proposal before we pass it. So that's why we're going to do first reading. Can I have motion for first reading by Spinks, second by Janutus. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9575-18.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract between the city and the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 67, adopting the terms of a labor contract attached and ordering them into effect and declaring an emergency.
And we put a motion for suspension by Saunders, second by Rhodes. Call the roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the first of our 3 labor contracts that we're going to be passing. We're optimistic the other 2 will be coming over by the next council meeting. They're just finishing up some language. All of them are 3-year contracts. This is a 3-year contract for police. Outside of the wages that were negotiated, we made some substantial changes with prescription coverage, as well as longevity, and some other minor items in the contract that was important and beneficial to the city. I believe overall that this is a fair package, and we would recommend passage. Based on comparisons with other municipalities, the CERB report, as far as insurance and wages and what's out there already.
Thank you. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezak?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9576-18.
authorizing the city manager and the chief of police to enter into an agreement with the Village of Orange for use of the Bedford City Jail facilities and declaring an emergency.
And a motion for suspension by Mezak, second by Rhodes. Call roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
A motion for third and final by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Mike?
This is a similar contract to the others that we've passed over the last 2 years. We did stop entering into agreements with cities because we were at a comfort level as far as our capacity. But with Cuyahoga County taking over and reopening the Bedford Heights jail, we will no longer be accommodating any Bedford Heights prisoners. So there is a little bit of, we have some room to enter into one of these contracts with a smaller entity. Orange would be one of the smaller entities. And we feel this is a good agreement, a positive agreement. Obviously, it generates cash flow for the city, and we can accommodate it.
Thank you. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9577-18.
Authorizing the city to accept the titles of parcels of land obtained through the Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation in the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
And again, we want to do this on first reading. There's a couple questions we have. A motion for such. Spinks, second by Janutus. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
To execute a lease between the city of Bedford and the Board of Park Commissioners of the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District regarding Willis Ball Field and Hutchinson Field and declaring an emergency.
And can I have a motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
And a motion for third and final by Saunders, second by Mezak. Mike?
This is a contract that has no cost to the city, but it's an agreement that we enter into with the Cleveland Metro Parks for use, as John had indicated, the two properties, Hutchinson Park and the Bedford Glens. This is just a simple agreement where they give us permission to run all of our youth and adult activities on their park property, and we maintain it.
As we have been for years.
Yes.
Just an updated signature. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9579-18.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Utility Truck Equipment, Inc. to purchase one 2001, High Ranger bucket truck for the service department and declaring an emergency.
I have a motion for suspension by Saunders, second by Rhodes. Call the roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus. Mike?
Thanks, Mayor. Earlier this year, or actually for this year, 2018 budget, we did budget for $22,000 for a new stump grinder, one that's much larger than the one we currently have. It'll allow us to be more efficient in utilizing that piece of equipment. We have not purchased it yet, and we were notified of this piece of equipment, this bucket truck that has become available. It was a lease that was turned in. This company went through, refurbished, did everything with all the cables, all of that, and was now selling it for roughly $26,800. We have a bucket truck, but one that does not go as high and does not have the capability of this piece of equipment. For instance, when we do the decorations downtown, we have to rent at $4,000 a year a bucket to put the lights up, to take the lights down. We do have our own arborist in town that can take trees down and what he's comfortable in doing. However, some of the trees that are significantly higher, we don't have the capability of taking those trees down. One of them, we just received a quote over on West Interstate, $3,800 that we were getting ready to contract out, simply because we didn't have the equipment. What we're recommending is passing on the purchase of the stump grinder that we had already budgeted for and make this purchase. I believe just in those two examples, between using it for the downtown decorations and also allowing our arborist a piece of equipment that he can go ahead and take down some of these larger trees, we'll save money every year. We did negotiate with them. We got them to come down on their price to $23,500. So what we're recommending is we earmark that $22,000 that was already budgeted for. We pass on the stump grinder, and we put that towards this piece of equipment. We will save the extra $1,500 in no time. Like I said, I think we'll be able to do a significantly amount of additional tree work. I did obviously indicate to the staff, and as I mentioned to council earlier, there may be occasions where we do have to contract out tree work, and that would be only based on safety, if there's trees and power lines in the immediate vicinity, or just with the sheer amount that would need to come down. We only have one arborist in the city. But I think this is we were down, the company brought the truck up, our mechanics inspected it. I think it is a piece of equipment that will allow us to save money in the future.
And what about the old bucket truck?
We will still have it, we'll be able to utilize that as well.
So you don't have to use the big one all the time?
Yeah, no.
Okay, good. It's kind of a no-brainer to buy this one, but call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mizek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9580-18.
Amending ordinance number 782716, chapter 131301A of the Bedford Codified Ordinance entitled Adoption of Code Title and declaring an emergency.
And you have a motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mizek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Mezak, second by Saunders.
It's just cleaning up some language in the ordinances to the current editions of the codes that we have adopted, so we don't have to, every time they change, we don't have to update the code. So we're saying the current version to be, so we don't, just for that reason.
Yeah, and we did this 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And this one was just discovered, so we needed to update that so it matches the rest of them.
Along with the next ordinance.
And the next one,
Looked at
yes.
the title section and figured we get it out of the way.
Which will make things smoother in the building department. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mizek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9581-18.
Amending the other chapters, 131101, B1, B2, B3, repealing C, and also amending 131104B and 131134 of the building code of the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Rhodes, second by Saunders. Call the roll.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mizek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Spinks, second by Janutus. And again, just the same thing we just mentioned. Call the roll, please.
Spinks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mizek?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Thank you. And now we come to hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak Please come forward, state your name, address, and your comment. No libraries?
David Neff, 1136 Archer Road. As you guys, some of you may be aware, Bedford made the news this week. NPR, national news. You guys all familiar with that story? About the nuisance laws here in the city related to people having multiple calls to the police department. I think there's a general consensus that the rules as written are not utilized in a manner that is inappropriate, although it could be. I think the story was written in a sort of one-sided manner, and from what I understand, I don't believe the city misuses that rule. I do think, though, that it would be wise of this council to consider amending the verbiage to that law to make it so that the rules could not be utilized in such a manner. Also, yes, I do want to express my gratitude to Heather, Wally, and Sandy for mentioning that the Bedford Tribune is now online, and our intention is to take it to print at some point in time in the near future. I would encourage all of you council members, as you guys have seen the emails going back and forth now, I'm sure, to participate. Please write a small story about your ward, at minimum monthly. If you decide you're not interested in it, that's fine. Someone will probably write a story about your ward for you. So, with that being said, thank you very much.
David, you might give us that website again?
The website is bedfordohio.org. It's the Bedford Tribune. And as I mentioned, currently it is only in a website format, but the ultimate intention is to take this to a printed distribution to every residence and business within the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David, is contact information available on there in case we want to advertise?
Absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Hi, Ralph Burke from 701 Jefferson in Bedford. Just a couple of questions. I was wondering what's going on at the old Bedford Medic. It looks like it's under some serious.
Yeah, that's where the new Dollar General store is moving in. They're putting in over $1 million in that place.
Okay. And then there seems like there's a number of streetlights out in the downtown Broadway area. And I was wondering, when you get around to replacing them, is there anything you can do besides that harsh, glaring white light that doesn't really make any light? You know what I mean? It was a big deal when they turned them all on, but it kind of was a disappointment too, because it's real hard and glary, you know, it's not that warm.
Something a little softer.
Yeah, that yellow kind of light, because there's a lot of lights down there, but you really can't see it.
Yeah,
You know,
no, that's, I don't know if it's
Yeah,
a certain bulb we gotta use or.
We can look into it. I know what the idea is that once they do get switched out, would be to go to a full LED, just based on cost.
Okay.
I don't know, my guess is that that's going to be a clean white light.
Okay.
If we went LED, I'm not a lighting expert, you know, I'll look into that and see if there's some form of lower wattage or that, not such.
Like if you go into Chagrin Falls or even Lakewood and you look at their downtown area, our lights are really close together, but they don't really illuminate that much. So if you could do something, I think aesthetically it's nicer. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, comment on that?
Having worked with lights before, the lower the pole gets, the brighter the intensity has to get, and the closer the poles have to get each other in order to cover the same wattage that a normal street light would that's way up on a telephone pole. So that's the purpose of it, and right now, those lights, as they age, actually dim. So there isn't as much of an intensity like they were when they were first put in either, but it's all done through I would just say scientific formula that all bases on height of pole, distance between poles, and, you know, those type of things. So it isn't just haphazardly thrown in there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, a motion for adjournment. By Mezak, second by Rhodes. Call the roll.
Speaks?
Yes.
Koci?
Yes.
Mezek?
Yes.
Judas?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Thank you for coming.